say we should forget about it. These are the type of people that would say that. Those are the Sambos, the ones who are like upward in the system, accepted by white class, and they're the ones who are saying we should not go after reparations.
That's my grandmother was never accepted by white class, and she felt like reparations was something that was a thought that didn't make sense.
I'm not gonna like your grandmother's position. I wouldn't speak on that. That's her position. I'm just speaking like
there are people who don't. Blacks don't have a monolith. We're not a monolith. Every time we say something that's different, we get called a name, a Sambo, a coon, some stupid ass.
Because you undermining us.
There was the other one. It's from Django. It's just these grown people calling people names and never discussing why they see things differently.
You call people names.
It wasn't the question. If you would have said there's people in the black community who have different reasons for not supporting it, yeah, I wouldn't have said that. But what you specifically said was, who were the black people that did? Why didn't black people push against it? And that's why I was saying it was the same.
I didn't actually say that. What I said was, there was no black table. That I explained what the Jews got and why they got it, and I explained the power that they had. And then I said blacks needed to have sat down at a table and get them to sign a deal too. If they didn't,
no, that's what I'm saying. When blacks sat at the table, the blacks who sat at the table, that we're not pushing for reparations, because the blacks who were invited to the table would be considered the Sambos. And I'm not just.
And that's why you're against reparations, because you're not gonna get it.
They decided
none of your people gonna get it.
When slavery was ended, there were no blacks, because blacks didn't have a country to represent. They didn't have their own faction. They literally were just property, and they were just now giving them their status as people.
Like putting down.
No, there's plenty of black people who had status in the country, right? Even before slavery was abolished, because slavery was abolished in different parts. So, for example, in New York, segregation was being pushed away way before other parts of the country. Right?
But you can't get the North.
Boston had, Boston was pushing segregated the desegregation way before the push of that. So that's what I mean. Like, it depends on what region you're in. And it was black people who were established that were in different racial positions.
For a point of clarity, I think the position that Tommy's talking about is at the table when they're deciding civil war, when they're ending at that table, not. But so it's almost like y'all having two different type of conversations. Like Q is bringing up blacks that had power in different sections, like he mentioned New York and stuff like that. But Tommy is saying when the war ended, there was no blacks at that table dividing up what was going to happen to the slaves that are now free. What land they're going to go to.
It was a black person that then started the Civil War. I mean, not the Civil War, the Revolution. Like, I mean, like, you got to look at it like we were involved in it, but at the same time, you also have black people.
You can be involved, but not be one of the principals at the table. You work for Boeing. You're involved in Boeing. You build the planes, but when they sold Boeing, none of the people who were building the planes had any say-so of the contract that was signed.
But there's different reasons for that. That's not because of us. That's because of.
I didn't say it was because of us. If I stated the fact exists.
Yeah, but
that's not because of us. If you don't,
I'm just saying. But that's a different. At the table at the time, right? Discussing what it was. That's a different talking point. So what I was discussing.
But that was my whole point.
No, the point.
That's what I was saying. Even when you're saying this whole Sambo.
I'm just the reason why I wrote Sambo in the chat.
You Sambo. Why are you mad to be? Because you're a Sambo.
Maybe what I misinterpreted what you said.
That's right. Change his mind.
Either one, right? I'm gonna put either one. We can just play it back. What I was responding
to
against black people. What you said was
you're a Sambo. That's what a Sambo is. At least that's what I think it is.
Pushing for reparations. So I just want to be clear.
The person that undermines black people.
You a Sambo. We can have the finish the conversation, but I want you to recognize I wasn't calling you or talking when I said the statement Sambo. I just want to be clear. I wasn't talking about you.
Here's what you keep missing, though. You're saying I was saying it towards something that wasn't said. So I would then have to just make up something and say, well, yeah, he wasn't calling me that. He was saying this thing I didn't say was Sambo's.
I was speaking about the fact is, I was talking about the question, what I thought you said or heard you say was, where were the black people at? Why was no black people there? So the black people that's what I was talking about. So I'm just letting you know, the black people that you were referring to, where were they at? That I was saying they wasn't there because of the Sambos. So
they're not Sambos if they don't have a country. If you don't have a flag,
we can have the conversation about who they are. I'm just making sure that you understand That statement wasn't to you.
I didn't make that statement. I get it.
I'm saying my statement. I said my statement. I said my statement.
I know your statement was to say, you said to something I said, but it's something I didn't.
You said. Now, whether or not you said it or not, I'm just stating I wasn't calling you that. So in the clarity, I wasn't calling you that. Now we can go to the friction that you and I have, right? Just going
the friction you have.
I don't have any friction with you. That's why I want to be. Now let me clear it up with Cap, right? One. So let's get the space ready, right? The conversation. Let's a grown conversation. When Cap put his ever on, right? Tommy, you talk how you talk, and when I first was introduced to you, I'm like, look, how you talk. If you don't like it, don't listen. That's the very first thing. I think Joel Benjamin had an interview with me, with you and I, and he brought me on your.
I had you on my show and had you talking about your.
Yeah, Joel Benjamin. I didn't know. No. Why I'm saying this at the time. I didn't know how the setup was. For me, Joel Benjamin called me and sent me a Zoom link and said, I want to bring you on a show. I didn't know you at the time. And then he tells me about you. And I'm like, look, if that's how he talked, that's how he's talked. Now, fast forward, right? Now I'm introduced to your speech. And when I come to the event, I didn't go to the event with anybody. I went to the event by myself. When I got to the event, I saw the brothers that was there and multiple people, and we was in the back of the space. And when you walked in, we were all shocked that you came to the event. So literally a brother walks past me and is like, yo, is that Tommy? Another brother walks past me like, yo, that's Tommy? So we all looking at each other like, yo, Tommy's here? We were not together.
Yeah, like, why the fuck is Tommy here?
The brother who walked towards you, just to be clear, the brother who walked towards you asked the question.
Nigga? Why he trying to mingle with us? Nigga, he hate us. That's what they think.
He was with the other brother who I was talking to. He saw him walk towards you, so we all walked towards you, and that's why it looked like there was a group, but none of us were together. That's why I'm just making sure. So when we got towards you, it might have seemed like 10 people, but that wasn't 10 people in a group. When the dude asked you the question, I was on the side, and I was like, I'm just looking at what's going on. And when you responded, I got in between, and I said the thing about because of black women. You see what I'm saying? So now that statement, then the dude on the side, when he said that, and I said this before, and I'm gonna just be real, right? You know your speech, and you can talk how you want to talk. Talk how you want to talk. I deal with mad rappers, right? And I tell rappers, you can rap about whatever you want to rap about. It's a free world. But there might be somebody who doesn't like what you say, and the reality of what you say may bring up a conversation with them that can go either way.
But I showed him ultimate respect. When
no, you did.
And I answered so good that
no, you did.
Cap.
Let me just finish this one point.
I answered the question. I answered this one point. I didn't.
Hold on 1 second, Q. Hold on 1 second, Q.
I answered it so well that the black women who were standing there, who initially were against me, said he has a point. Because if you give me a chance to talk, I can talk farther than the 5-minute video you watched of me. And so I explained it to him so well. He asked me several questions, and I answered every one of them professionally, respectfully. He then said, well, I just don't like you, nigga. And I said, and we don't have nothing else to say. I turn around to get ready to get my stuff, to get ready to get on the stage, and that's when he hits me in the back of the head. I then turn the fuck around and try to get to him. Q-Butter and the rest of them stand between me and him. And Q-Butter said to me at that moment, "There's too many niggas in here for this. You don't want that."
I make this shit look easy. 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 I see what I like, then I go out and get it. I make changes, that's why I'm different. I see it before it happens, that's vision. Telling myself I know I like this.